Hey friends, it is day 23 and we are reading Genesis chapter 32 through Genesis chapter 34. But before we get into that, I want to first thank you for taking a moment to stop by and check out the video. I hope you're enjoying the reading program, the yearly Bible reading program. But if you're not already a part of the community, please take a moment to check out the description box below. There's a link that will take you directly to the YouVersion Bible app where you can access the invitation and accept it to be a part of many readers across the country who are reading the Bible every single day and leaving incredible feedback via the YouVersion Bible app. So if you're accessing through your laptop or your desktop, please make sure you have your phone handy. You can scan the QR code and it'll take you directly to the Bible reading program, and you can join the community and provide your feedback every single day. Now today we're at day 23 and we're reading Genesis chapter 32 through Genesis chapter 34. And it has been an incredible journey so far. We now see Jacob returning back to his home, but there's something he has to deal with before he returns. He must deal with the dilemma that he left there at his father's house with his brother Esau. And the thing that's so interesting about this text is the acts committed against Esau is still fresh on the mind of um, of Jacob, and he's really thinking about this. He's actually very fearful about how things are going to turn out, and what we find is that he does everything he can to assure himself that he's taking the proper precautions to prevent what could become a bit of a civil war or some sort of um, battle between him and his brother. And it seems from the look of it that he is very intimidated by his brother's presence. He is not at all giving the impression that he can just kind of will his way back as he may have done before. But this signifies a bit of a change in the heart, in the mind, in the maneuvers, the strategies of Jacob. And perhaps we can credit this somewhat to the circumstances that he had to encounter while in Laban's house. He's understood now that the way through life is not to manipulate or to arrogantly just move along as if you owe no decency to anyone, but rather he understands his faults. He's willing to address it. He's willing and actively trying to make peace with his brother, and it ultimately pays off. One of the things he actually says in chapter 33, verse 10 is, there's relief in seeing your friendly smile, and it's like seeing the face of God. So that tells you everything you need to know about what this encounter of peace meant to Jacob. But there's a few things that stand out. In chapter 32, we see Jacob sending gifts. And then in chapter 32, we also see him, if you will, wrestling with God. And that phrase is very powerful because it seems as though what Jacob is saying here is, I am not at all content with the blessings and the birthrights I have stolen. This blessing that I am seeking must come firstly the right way, and it must come from God himself. And so all of these things are indicative of the transformation that Jacob has experienced. And more importantly, it shows us why he actually was able to personally commit to God in a way that we had not seen before. You see, to say that I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, or I serve the God of my fathers, is a big deal. But here we find Jacob actually taking a personal position based on what God has done before, and then also on what he's expecting God to do as he returns back to his father's house. So the good news here is everything is done, and there's no bloodshed. Esau here receives Jacob, and they reconcile and they move on with their lives. The odd passage is in chapter 34, where there's this situation with Dinah, and she obviously is treated inappropriately, and her brothers take revenge on those individuals from Shechem who have desecrated a daughter of Israel. The thing that's interesting about this text, and I'll be honest with you, it's random. I don't know the significance other than perhaps the fact that we get to see the character of some of Jacob's children, which, by the way, is going to be mentioned again at the end of the book when we begin to look at the patriarchal blessing that is given to each one of these tribes. And there is a sort of a reference to this event that makes it worth spontaneously popping up in the middle of a line, or in the middle of a story about Jacob, which is trying to transition to a story about Joseph. And so, very random. Perhaps it is there to show us the distinction in the characteristics of Levi and who is it? And Simeon in comparison to Joseph. But there's just something interesting about this, and I will be honest, I have not yet figured out exactly the essence of it, the depth of it. But we'll keep on searching, we'll keep on reading. Yeah, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about this text. One thing I don't want to do is try to make it a big moral focused chapter, because I think that's besides the point. I think all scripture is intended to show us Jesus Christ, point us to Jesus Christ, and perhaps along the way we'll get a few moral principles that will help us understand how we can view God and how we can live on this earth, of course. But we don't want to get into the habit of trying to say, we'll see, here's another instance where a person should have done this and they didn't do it, so then therefore the Bible is false, right? That's just erroneous in my opinion. I think we have a lot to consider, considering the context, considering the time of the individuals who are being spoken about, and then we can always make our applications from there. But such a great reading, a lot here, and we're going to continue to read as we do every single day. I'd love to hear your thoughts and concerns and ideas from Scripture. Please use the description box, use the comment box below. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what you're learning, and provide some great feedback for us to kind of go back and ponder as we continue to read. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. Take care, God bless, and live by the word.